Hello, today we will learn about cell division and cell cycle. The cell cycle is the sequence of events that take place in a cell leading to its division and duplication that produces two daughter cells. The cells without a nucleus are prokaryotic, that is called prokaryotic. The cell cycle occurs via a process termed binary fission. In cells with a nucleus, that is called eukaryotes, the cell cycle can be divided into in three periods, that is interphase, then the mitotic phase and the cytokinesis. First is interphase. Let's know about interphase. It generally lasts at least 12 to 24 hours in mammalian tissues. During this period, the cell is constantly synthesizing RNA, producing protein, and growing in size. Interphase can be divided into four steps, that is gap 0 or G0, gap 1, that is G1, S means synthesis phase, and gap 2 phase, G2 phase. Let's know about G0. G0 gap 0 phase. There are times when a cell will leave the cycle and quit dividing. This may be a temporary testing period or more permanent. An example of the latter is a cell that has reached an end stage of development and will no longer divide. Example, neuron. Now let's know about gap 1. G1. G1 is the period that follows to one division and lasts approximately 5 to 10 hours. Cells increase in size in gap 1, produce RNA and synthesize protein. The G1 checkpoint control mechanism ensures that everything is ready for DNA synthesis. Now come to S phase. To produce two similar daughter cells, the complete DNA instructions in the cell must be duplicated. DNA replication occurs during this S phase. S phase has a constant time of 6 to 8 hours. G2 gap 2. G2 phase. During the gap between DNA synthesis and mitosis, the cell will continue to grow and produce new proteins. This post-synthetic stage is short, normally approximately 4 hours, and begin at the moment when DNA autoreplication stops. At the end of this gap is another control checkpoint, that is G2 checkpoint, to determine if the cell can now proceed to enter M means mitosis and divide. Let's come to mitosis or M phase. Cell growth and protein production stop at this stage in the cell cycle. All of the cell's energy is focused on the complex and orderly division into two similar daughter cells. Mitosis is much shorter than interphase, lasting perhaps only 1 to 2 hours. As in both G1 and G2, there is a checkpoint in the middle of mitosis, that is metaphase checkpoint, that ensures the cell is ready to complete cell division. Actual stages of mitosis can be viewed at animal cell mitosis. Cancer cells reproduce relatively quickly in culture. In the cancer cell, CAM compare the length of time these cells spend in interphase to that for mitosis to occur. Regulation of cell cycle. Let's know about regulation of cell cycle. Cyclin dependent protein kinase CDKS. SCDKS is an enzyme that adds negatively charged phosphate groups to other molecules in a process called phosphorylation. The phosphorylation CDKS signals the cell that it is ready to pass into the next stage of the cycle. As their name suggests, cyclin dependent protein kinases are dependent on cyclins, another class of regulatory proteins. Cyclins bind to CDKS, activating the CDKS to phosphorylate other molecules. Let's know about cyclins. Cyclins are named such because they undergo a constant cycle of synthesis and degradation during cell division. When cyclins are synthesized, they act as an activating protein and bind to CDKS, forming a cyclin CDK complex. This complex then acts as a signal to the cell to pass to the next cycle phase. Eventually, the cyclin degrades, deactivating the CDK. The signaling exit from a particular phase. There are two classes of cyclins, mitotic cyclins and G1 cyclins. Mitotic cyclins. Mitotic cyclins accumulate gradually during G2. Once they reach a high enough concentration, they can bind a CDKS. When mitotic cyclins bind to CDKS in G2, the resulting complex is known as mitosis promoting factor, that is MPF. This complex acts as the signal for the G2 cell to either to enter mitosis. Once the mitotic cyclin degrades, MPF is inactivated and the cell exits mitosis by dividing and re-entering G1. The cellular signals that we described earlier provide the signals that regulate the synthesis and degradation of the cyclins. Now come to G1 or S control point. G1 or S is the first checkpoint and it is located at the end of the cell cycle's G1 phase, just before entry into S phase, making the key decision of whether the cell should divide, delay division, or enter a resting stage. Many cells stop at this stage and enter a resting state called G0. The primary G1 or S cell cycle checkpoint controls the commitment of eukaryotic cells to transition through the G1 phase to enter into the DNA synthesis S phase. Entry into S phase is regulated not by one but by three cyclin dependent kinases called CDK2, CDK4 and CDK6, which like CDK1 are activated at high efficiency only when coupled to a cyclin partner, in this case cyclin D for CDKS4 and 6 and cyclin E for CDK2. DNA replication requires a specific set of proteins not used in quiescent cells, and transcription of the genes coding for these proteins is activated by a transcription factor called E2F1. The quiescent cells E2F1 is prevented from activating transcription by being bound to RB, the product of the gene that is mutated in the cancer retinoblastoma. The main function of CDK4 seems to be to phosphorylate RB, preventing its association with E2F1, which is therefore freed to bind to enhancer sequences, activate transcription, and hence trigger DNA synthesis. Growth factors trigger cell division in part through activating transcription of the cyclin D gene and hence allowing CDK4 to operate. Once S phase has begun, RB is dephosphorylated to prevent further rounds of DNA replication. The G1 CDKs have an extra level of regulation above that described for CDK1 cyclin B because they are inhibited by an additional class of proteins called CK1S for cyclin dependent kinase inhibitor proteins. There are many CKIs mediating a number of pathways all with the same outcome, stopping cell division. One of these pathways mediates contact inhibition. Cells in a culture dish or at the edge of a wound divide until they touch each other. When they contact neighboring cells, they stop dividing because contact causes production of two CKIs called P16INK4A and P27KIP1. These inhibit the G1 CDKS and therefore stop DNA synthesis. Loss of contact inhibition is one of the first changes seen in the transformation of normal cells into cancer cells. Another CKI called P21C1P CIP1 is produced in response to the transcription factor P53. P53 is produced all the time in cells but is broken down rapidly, so its concentration is usually low. However, if the DNA is damaged, for example by ultraviolet light, the destruction of P3 is stopped. As P53 concentrations increase, a number of processes are activated. The systems that repair DNA are activated. P21 CIPI is produced. CIP1 is produced, inhibiting the G1 CDKS and therefore preventing replication of the deactivated DNA. Lastly, if the DNA cannot be repaired within a set time, the cell is triggered to self-destruct in the process called apoptosis. Now come to inhibition of proliferation. TGF beta 1. The transforming growth factor beta, that is TGF beta, is a protein that controls proliferation, circular differentiation, and other functions in most cells. It plays a role in immunity. It plays a role in immunity, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and Marfan syndrome. TGF beta acts as an anti-proliferative factor in normal epithelial cells and at early stages of oncogenesis. TGF-B is a secreted protein that exists in three isoforms called TGF-B1, TGF-B2, and TGF-B3. Transforming growth factor beta 1 prevents phosphorylation of RB scheduled in mid to late G1 and arrested cells in late G1. TGF beta 1, once bound to its receptor, activates an intracellular pathway that involves binding of SMA D3, SMA D4, which activates cyclin dependent kinase inhibitors P16, P15, P21, P27. TGF-B additionally inhibits the transcription of CDC25A, a phosphatase that activates the cell cycle kinases. For this reason, cell cycle kinases, that is CDK2, CDK4, CDK6, bound to cyclin E and cyclin D, cannot phosphorylate PRB. DNA damage. In normal cells, P53 is usually inactivated, bound to MDM2 protein that inhibits the protein and promotes the degradation of functioning as a ubiquitin ligase. The activation of P53 is induced after the effects of various carcinogens such as ultraviolet UV oncogenesis and drugs or other substances that damage DNA. The damage to DNA are found in specific stages, control of cell cycle, proteins that induce barriers such as ATN, CHK1, CHK2 to phosphorylate P53 sites near or within the region that binds MDM2, that is inhibiting the attack. Even oncogenes stimulate the activation of P53 by P14 ARF protein. Some other oncogenesis genes, some other oncogenes, however, stimulate the transcription of a protein that inhibits MDM2. Once activated, P53 activates the transcription of many genes, including that for P21, which binds the complex G1S or CDK and D or CDK molecules important for the transposition from G1 to S phase by inhibiting their activity and avoiding the proliferation of mutated cells. Another important function of P53 is tumor suppression is inhibition of angiogenesis. Now come to activation of proliferation. IGF-1 and FGF2. Let's know about IGF1 and IGF1 and FGF2. They are coordinately enhance cyclin D1 and cyclin E CDK2 association and activity to promote G1 progression in oligodendrocyte progenitor cells. Insulin-like growth factor IGF-1 and fibroblast growth factor FGF2 have known functions individually in development of neural stem cells as well as more restricted neuronal and glial progenitor cells. IGF-1 enhanced FGF2 induction of cyclin D1 activation of G1 cyclin dependent kinase complexes and hyperphosphorylation of retinoblastoma protein, that is PRB. Besides, IGF-1 was required for G2 or M progression. In contrast, FGF2 decreased levels of the CDK inhibitor P27 associated with cyclin E-CDK2. PDGF. Exposure to PDGF, which stimulates cell cycle entry but not progression through G graphic, induces the formation of cyclin D graphic CDK4 complexes that bind P27 graphic and titrate the pool of KIP1 available to inhibit CDK2. In addition, PDGF stimulates a modern transient reduction in the abundance of P27 graphic protein. However, limited expression of cyclin E and cyclin A is observed after PDGF treatment, and in the absence of PPP and P27 levels are sufficient to bind and inactivate existing cyclin CDK complexes. Although plasma does not significantly increase the proportion of KIP1 bound to cyclin D graphic CDK4, stimulation of PDGF treated cells with plasma does overcome the threshold inhibition of P27 graphic by further increasing the expression of cyclins E and A and decreasing the amount of KIP1 over a prolonged time period. Let's know about PRB, that is retinoblastoma protein. The retinoblastoma protein is a tumor suppression protein that is dysfunctional in many types of cancer. One highly studied function of PRB is to prevent excessive cell growth by inhibiting cell cycle progression until a cell is ready to divide. It is also a recruiter of several chromatin remodeling enzymes such as methylases and acetylases. Now let's know about activation and inactivation of PRB. In the hypophosphorylated state, PRB is activated and carries out its role as tumor suppressor by inhibiting cell cycle progression. Phosphorylation inactivates PRB during the M to G1 transition. PRB is progressively dephosphorylated by PP1, returning to its growth suppressive hypophosphorylated state. The ability of RB to inhibit cellular proliferation is counterbalanced by the action of cyclin-dependent kinases (CDKs). In response to proliferative signals, CDKs are activated by their cyclin regulatory subunits to phosphorylate RB and thereby inactivate its protein binding function. Specifically, when quiescent cells are stimulated to enter the cell cycle, CDK4 or 6 cyclin D complexes become active in mid G1 and initiate the phosphorylation of RB. Later in G1, RB becomes hyperphosphorylated through the combined action of CDK4, cyclin D, CDK2, cyclin E, and CDK2, cyclin A. The activities of CDK2, cyclin E, and CDK2, cyclin A are both rate limiting and required for entry into S phase. Phosphorylation of RB is maintained throughout S and G until RB is finally dephosphorylated by a phosphatase at the M or G1 transition. The E2F the E2F binding function of RB can be inactivated by the phosphorylation of several CDK phosphorylation sites. The binding of RB to CABI tyrosine kinase is inactivated by the phosphorylation of two specific serine sites, and binding to viral oncoproteins or histone deacetylase is inactivated by two specific threonine sites. Phosphorylation of RB is a highly regulated process that specific phosphorylation events result in distinct outcomes. Phosphorylation of PRB allows E2F-DP to dissociate from PRB and become activate. When E2F is free, it activates factors like cyclins, example cyclin E and A, which push the cell through the cell cycle by activating cyclin-dependent kinases. A molecule called proliferating cell nuclear antigen or PCNA, which speeds DNA replication and repair by helping to attach polymerase to DNA. Now come to importance of RB. The importance of RB phosphorylation is underscored by the prevalence of mutations in cancer that result in deregulation of RB phosphorylation. For example, amplification of overexpression of cyclin D and CDK4 by 6 or loss of the CDK4 by 6 inhibitor P16INK4A occurs with high frequency in human tumors. Each of these types of mutations results in increased RB phosphorylation and inactivation of RB function. These phosphorylation site mutated RB proteins cause a cell cycle arrest in G1, which can be overridden by the increased expression of cyclin E. However, overproduction of cyclin E does not rescue cell cycle inhibition imposed by PSM-RB, as these cells entered but could not progress through S phase. The S phase inhibitory action of RB cannot be mimicked by CDK inhibitors such as P16INK4A, P21CIP1, or P27KIP1. The observation that PSMRB could inhibit S phase progression was consistent with the continued phosphorylation of RB throughout S phase and suggested that RB might become dephosphorylated under specific conditions, resulting in the inhibition of DNA replication. Now come to G2 checkpoint. The G2 or M DNA damage checkpoint serves to prevent the cell from entering mitosis, that is M phase, with genomic DNA damage. Specifically, the activity of the cyclin B, CDC2 or CDK1 complex is pivotal in regulating the G2 phase transition, wherein CDC2 is maintained in an inactivated state by the tyrosine kinase WEE1 and MYT1. It is thought that coordinated action of kinase Aurora A and the cofactor BORA activate PLK1 as cells approach the M phase, which in turn activates the phosphatase CDC25 and downstream CDC2 activity, hence establishing a feedback amplification loop that efficiently drives the cell into mitosis. Importantly, DNA damage cues activate the sensory DNA PK or ATM or ATR kinases, which rely two parallel cascades that ultimately serve to inactivate the cyclin B CDC2 complex. The first cascade rapidly inhibits progression into mitosis. The CHK kinases phosphorylate and inactivate CDC25, which prevents activation of CDC2. The slower second parallel cascade is involved phosphorylation of P53 and allows for its dissociation from MDM2 and MDMX, which activates DNA binding and transcriptional regulatory activity respectively. Transcriptional ability of P53 is further augmented through acylation by the coactivator complex P300 or PCAF. The second cascade constitutes the P53 downstream regulated genes, including 14-3-3, which binds to the phosphorylated cyclin B CDC2 complex and exports it from the nucleus. GADD45, which binds to and dissociates the cyclin B CDC2 complex, and P21 CIP1, an inhibitor of a subset of the cyclin dependent kinases including CDC2. Recent data suggest an important role for the P53 regulated WIP1 phosphatase that acts as a critical dampener of DNA damage signaling in cancer. In human cancers, researchers have found P53 to be commonly mutated, indicating that this point is a critical barrier to tumor formation. In addition, sporadic and familial mutations in the DNA repair proteins such as BRCA family, ATM, and Fanconi anemia proteins further highlight this as a key tumor suppressor checkpoint. Triggers the activation of the aforementioned ATM or ATR pathway, in which ATM ATR phosphorylate and activate the CHK1 CHK2 checkpoint kinases. CHK1 or 2 phosphorylate CDC25, which in addition to being inhibited is also sequestered in the cytoplasm by the 14-3-3 proteins. 14-3-3 are upregulated by P53, which as previously mentioned is activated by CHK1 and ATM or ATR. P53 also activates P21, and both P21 and the 14-3-3 in turn inhibit cyclin B CDC2 complexes through the phosphorylations and cytoplasmic sequestering of CDC2. In addition, the activation of CDC25 results in its inability to dephosphorylate and activate CDC2. Finally, another mechanism of damage response is through the negative regulation of PLK1 by ATM or ATR, which in turn results in the stabilization of WEE1 and meet 1, which can then phosphorylate and inhibit CDC2, thus keeping the cell arrested in G2 until the damage is fixed. Now, come to M phase checkpoint. Let's know about M phase checkpoints. Cell is driven into mitosis before it has finished replicating its DNA. It will pass on broken or incomplete sets of chromosomes to its daughter cells. This disaster is avoided in most cells by a DNA replication checkpoint mechanism, which ensures that the initiation of mitosis cannot occur until the last nucleotide in the genome has been copied. Sensor mechanisms of unknown molecular nature detect either the unreplicated DNA or the corresponding unfinished replication forks and send a negative signal to the cell cycle control system, blocking the activation of MCDK. MCDK is able to bring about all of the diverse and complex rearrangements that occur in the early stages of mitosis. The mitotic spindle checkpoint occurs at the point in metaphase where all the chromosomes should or have aligned at the mitotic plate and be under bipolar tension. The tension created by this bipolar attachment is what is sensed, which initiates the anaphase entry. To do this, the sensing mechanism ensures that the anaphase promoting complex is no longer inhibited, which is now free to degrade cyclin B, which harbors a D box or destruction box, and to break down securin. The latter is a protein whose function is to inhibit separase, which in turn causes the cohesins, the protein composite responsible for cohesion of sister chromatids. Once this inhibitory protein is degraded via ubiquitination and subsequent proteolysis, separase then causes sister chromatid separation. After the cell has split into its two daughter cells, the cell enters G1. After MCDK has triggered the complex rearrangements that occur in early mitosis, the cell cycle reaches its culmination with the separation of the sister chromatids at the metaphase to anaphase transitions. Although MCDK activity sets the stage for this event, an entirely different enzyme complex, the anaphase promoting complex APC, introduced early throws the switch that initiates sister chromatid separations. The APC is highly regulated ubiquitin ligase that promotes the destruction of several mitotic regulatory proteins. APC activation requires the protein CDC20, which binds to and activates the APC at mitosis. The attachment of the two sister chromatids to opposite poles of the mitotic spindle early in mitosis results in forces tending to pull the two chromatids apart. These pulling forces are initially resisted because the sister chromatids are bound tightly together, both at their centromeres and all along their arms. This sister chromatid cohesion depends on a complex of proteins. The cohesion complex is that is deposited along the chromosomes as they are duplicated in S phase. The cohesion proteins are closely related to the proteins of the cohesion complex involved in chromosome condensation, suggesting a common evolutionary origin for the two processes. Anaphase begins with a sudden disruption of the cohesion between sister chromatids, which allows them to separate and move to opposite poles of the spindle. This process is initiated by a remarkable cascade of signaling events. The sister chromatid separation requires the activation of the APC enzyme complex, suggesting that proteolysis is central to the process. The relevant target of the APC is the protein securin. Before anaphase, before anaphase, securin binds to and inhibits the activity of a protease called separase. The destruction of securin at the end of metaphase releases separase, which is then free to cleave one of the subunits of the cohesin complex. In an instant, the cohesin complex falls away from the chromosomes and the sister chromatids separate. The activation of APC or C by CDC20 or CDH1 leads to the uniquitylation and destruction of securin and M-cyclin. The destruction of securin allows separase to cleave a subunit of the cohesion complex. The pulling forces of the mitotic spindle then pull the sister chromatids apart. The activation of APC by CDC20 leads to the ubiquitination and destruction of securin, which normally holds separase in an inactivate state. The destruction of securin allows separase to cleave a subunit of the cohesin complex, holding the sister chromatin together. The pulling forces of the mitotic spindle then pull the sister chromatids apart. In bonding yeast at least cohesin cleavage by separase is facilitated by the phosphorylation of the cohesin complex adjacent to the cleavage site just before anaphase begins. The phosphorylation is mediated by polokinase and provides an additional control on the timing of metaphase to anaphase transition. Now come to mechanics of cell division. A scientist named Fleming in 1882 and Van Bendin in 1850 observed the presence in animal cells in division of some intense basophilic corpuscles. They were named chromosomes in 1888 by Walder. The first observation on cell division were obtained in 1841 by Remak on blood cells. The accumulation of observations on vegetal and animal cell multiplying determined Virchow in 1850 to affirm that omnis cellula e cellula. All cells excepting the red blood cells and neurons are able to multiply. It means that they form two daughter cells that in almost all cases have the same morphological and functional characters as the mother cell. Cell division is achieved by mitosis, indirect division, or karyokinesis that have two aspects: somatic mitosis or equational mitosis. Reductional mitosis that takes places in germ cells in their maturation process. During the indirect division, morphologic changes appear involving nuclear elements, that is karyokinesis, cytoplasmic elements, that is cytokinesis, and amitosis or direct division. The somatic or equational mitosis. Let's know about the somatic or equational mitosis. First is interphase, then prophase, prometaphase, then metaphase, then anaphase, then telophase. Okay, so first of all, somatic or equational mitosis. Under this, we will study interphase. Interphase means the resting or non-mitotic portion of the cell cycle. It is comprised of G1S and G2 stages of the cell cycle. DNA is replicated during the S phase of interphase. Now come to prophase. The longest stage, lasting 25 to 35 minutes, is characterized by the following morphological changes. The nucleus appears small chromatin granules that will form the filamentous or stick-like chromosomes. They approach the nuclear cover, leaving a wide contour wide centronuclear space. The nucleoli become less visible and nuclear membrane is fragmented. The cytoplasm is centriole of the diplosome forms a procentriole. Each centriole, together with its procentriole, moves away one from another, and between them appear the microtubules of the division spindle. Now come to pro-metaphase, intermediate stage between prophase and metaphase, where cell membrane and nucleoli disappear as structures. The chromosomes become more evident through the light spiraling of the chromatids. The centromeres, of which position is constant, become visible. They occupy nucleus place in which they will move because of its fluidity. Now come to metaphase. The prophase lasts 25 to 35 minutes and is characterized by chromosome organization in the editorial plan of the cell, forming the equatorial plaque. Each chromosome has near its centromere a more dense granule called kinetochore. The kinetochore fixes the microtubule of the division spindle. The chromosomes have U or V shape. The centromeres are located inside, forming the equatorial plaque, and chromatids are directed towards cell periphery. The centrioles are directed toward the opposite poles of the cell. At the metaphase end, on each chromosome appears a longitudinal cleavage determining the appearance of a double number of chromosomes, that is 92 chromosomes. Each of them contains a genetic equipment identical to that of the interphasic chromosomes, that is chromatin fibers. Now come to anaphase. Anaphase is the last. It lasts for 5 to 8 minutes, and is characterized by the simultaneous migration of the son chromosomes toward the opposite cell poles with centrioles and microtubules of the division spindle intervention. In the second phase of the anaphase, in the cytoplasm zone that separates the two chromosome groups, we find the microtubules of the division spindle called interzonal microtubules. During metaphase and anaphase on cell surface, we can observe boiling movements that are a consequence of the intense physiochemical changes that take place in the cell mitosis. Now come to telophase. Telophase lasts approximately 20 minutes and begins with the two groups of chromosomes arrival at the opposite cell poles. They form a compact hyperchromatic mass. The nuclear cover appears and it separates chromatin by cytoplasm. The nucleoli appear from nucleolar organizer located in chromosomes. In the equatorial segment of the cell appear a stra- strangulation that progresses to form two daughter cells. During cytodiaresis, the organelles are equally shared in the two daughter cells. The surface movements diminish and then disappear. With these phenomena, the telophase is considered finished. It marks the end of the cell cycle and begins of another cycle. Now come to cytokinesis. The mitosis can be influenced or stopped by the action of some antimitotic factors. They can be represented by chemical substances. In animal cells, cytokinesis occurs by a process known as cleavage. First, a cleavage furrow appears. Cleavage furrow equals to shallow grooves near the location of the old metaphase plate. A contractile ring of actin microfilaments in association with myosin, a protein, and actin and myosin are also involved in muscle contraction and other movement function. The contraction of the Dividing cells ring of microfilaments is like the pulling of drawstrings, and the cell is pinched in two. Cytokinesis in plant cells is different because plant cells have cell walls. There is no cleavage furrow. During telophase, vesicles from Golgi apparatus move along microtubules to the middle of the cell and coalescence producing the cell plate. Cell wall construction materials are carried in the vesicles and are continually deposited until a complete cell wall forms between the two daughter cells. The end of cytokinesis marks the end of the M phase. Depending of the degree of morpho-functional similarity between the mother cell and the two daughter cells, somatic mitosis can be classified as two types, that is homotypic, heterotypical, homo heteroplastic or asymmetrical, and another is differential mitosis or rejuvenescential mitosis. First is homotypic, where there are no differences between the mother cells and the two daughter cells. This form is characteristic for the very young, not differentiated cells. Heterotypical, where the two daughter cells resemble but are different from the mother cell. Homoheteroplastic or asymmetrical, the two daughter cells are different one from another. One of them is identical with the mother cell while the other differs. Now differential mitosis or rejuvenation mitosis, cell that divides from form cells less differentiated than itself. It is observed during blast in transforming of the lymphocytes. Now come to significance. Mitosis is important for the maintenance of the chromosomal set. Now come to development and growth. The number of cells within an organism increases by mitosis. This is the basis of development of a multicellular body from a single cell, that is zygote, and also basis of growth of a multicellular body. Cell replacement. New cells are formed by mitosis and so are exact copies of the cells being replaced. In like manner, red blood cells have short lifespans and new RBCs are formed by mitosis. Now come to regeneration. Some organisms can regenerate body parts. The production of new cells in such instances is achieved by mitosis. For example, starfish regenerate lost arms through mitosis. Now come to asexual reproduction. Some organisms produce genetically similar offspring through asexual reproduction. For example, the hydra reproduces asexually by budding. The cells at the surface of hydra undergo mitosis and form a mass called a bud. The same division happens during asexual reproduction or vegetative propagation in plants. Now come to meiosis cell division. Meiosis is a special type of cell division that occurs in sexually reproducing organisms. Meiosis reduces the chromosome number by half, enabling sexual recombination to occur. Meiosis of diploid cells produces haploid daughter cells which may function as gametes. Gametes undergo fertilization, restoring the diploid number of chromosomes in the zygote. Meiosis and fertilization introduce genetic variation in three ways: crossing over between homologous chromosomes at phase 1, independent assortment of homologous pairs at metaphase 2, and random change fertilization random chance fertilization between any one female gamete with any other male gamete. The role of sexual reproduction is evolution. Sexual reproduction is a population should decline in frequency relative to asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. No males are needed. All individuals can produce offspring. Sexual reproduction. Only females can produce offspring. Therefore, fewer are produced. Reproduction may exist because it provides genetic variability that reduces susceptibility of a population to pathogen attack. The stage of meiosis can broke down into two main stages, that is meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 can be broken down into four substages, that is prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. And meiosis 2 can be broken into four substages, that is prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2. The first maturation division. Let's know about first maturation division, that is meiosis. The meiosis interests the first degrees of spermatocytes and ovocytes. Their cell cycle is developed in two stages. The metabolic stage or interphase is similar to that of somatic cells, with the single difference that chromosomal DNA and histones self-replication are not achieved in this stage but in meiosis prophase. The distributive stage or meiosis is characterized by reducing at a half the chromosome number. In this way, it is avoided the doubling of the number of chromosomes from egg or zygote. It has four stages: prophase, metaphase, telophase, and anaphase. Meiosis 1. Prophase is very long and has 5 successive stages, that is leptotin, zygotin, pachitin, diplotin, and diakinesis. Let's know about leptotin. Leptotin is characterized by nucleus volume growth, DNA self-replication, and the synthesis of histone proteins. Chromosomes become visible and have a filamentous aspect. Sex chromosomes X and Y are found in a condensed form. The sex granule or vesicle on the internal face of the nuclear cover. Now come to zygotin. Zygotin is characterized by the longitudinal stage attaching of the homologous chromosomes. This phenomenon is called synapse. They are bound through a protein network called synaptolemal complex. It achieves a perfect alignment of the two chromosomes. Such a pair is called bivalent chromosome or dyad. At the end of this stage in the nucleus, there are only 22 dyads, bivalent chromosomes. Therefore, it was achieved the reducing at a half of the diploid chromosomal set. Sex chromosomes are found in the condensed form. Let's know about Pachitin. Pachitin, at the beginning of this stage, the connection between chromosomes is very tight. Then, at the level of each bivalent, a longitudinal cleavage occurs so that the dyad will have 4 chromatids forming a tetrad. Now come to diplotin. The cleavage of the chromatid is very obvious. It is the period where is made an exchange of genetic material through exchanges of chromatids fragments between the homologous chromosomes of the dyad. This recombination of the genetic material is called crossing over. Now come to diakinesis. Diakinesis is characterized by movements or migrations of the bivalents towards cell periphery. The two sex chromosomes X and Y differentiate from the sex vesicle. The nucleoli and the nuclear cover start disappearing. The last three stages are similar to those of a somatic mitosis. In prometaphase, the nucleoli and the nuclear cover disappear, the centrioles move away, and the bivalents direct over the cell equator. The metaphase, the bivalents form the equatorial plaque. In anaphase, each bivalent separates into two halves, each of them migrating toward one of the cell poles. The telophase is similar to that of the somatic mitosis. It marks the beginning of the separation of the two daughter cells. They have the chromosomal equipment reduced at a half from zygotin stage of the prophase. Cells may enter a period of rest known as interkinesis or interphase 2. No DNA replication occurs during this stage. Meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 is the second part of the meiotic process, also known as equational division. Mechanically, the process is similar to mitosis, though its genetic results are fundamentally different. The end result is production of four haploid cells, that is 23 chromosomes, n in humans from the two haploid cells, that is 23 chromosomes n, each of the chromosomes consisting of two sister chromatids produced in meiosis 1. The four main steps of meiosis 2 are prophase 1, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2. In prophase 2, we see the disappearance of the nucleoli and the nuclear envelope again, as well as certain and thickening of the chromatids. Centrosomes move to the polar regions and arrange spindle fibers for the second meiotic division. In metaphase 2, the centromeres contain two kinetochores that attach to spindle fibers from the centromeres at opposite poles. The new equatorial metaphase plate is rotated by 90 degree when compared to meiosis 1, perpendicular to the previous plate. This is followed by anaphase 2, in which the remaining centromeric cohesion is cleaved, allowing the sister chromatids to segregate. The sister chromatids by convention are now called sister chromosomes as they move towards opposite poles. The process ends with telophase 2, which is similar to telophase 1 and is marked by decondensation and lengthening of the chromosomes and the disassembly of the spindle. Nuclear envelopes reform and cleavage or cell wall formation eventually produces a total of four daughter cells, each with a haploid set of chromosomes. Meiosis is now complete and ends up with four new daughter cells. Now come to direct division or amitosis. Amitosis or direct division is simple and rarely found in human beings. It is characterized by a cleavage that interests both the nucleus and the cytoplasm. It was described by the scientist named Re Gound in Sertoli cells from testes, by Boucher in 1959 in fibroblast cultures, and by Grundemann and Batch in 1960 in mammalian liver after partial hepatiectomy. Amitosis significance is not well explained. It is found in old cells near the end of their life. In cell cultures, it may be found when living conditions are bad. Recent researches with histophotometry technique showed that amitosis is preceded by DNA self-replication. Now let's know about significance of meiosis. It maintains the same chromosome number in the sexually reproducing organisms. From a diploid cell, haploid gametes are produced, which in turn fuse to form a diploid cell. It restricts the multiplication of chromosome number and maintains the stability of the species. Maternal and paternal genes get exchanged during crossing over. Thank you. Finally finished.